Welcome to the Authors Corner with H.D. Campbell. Each show will be filled with news, interviews, technology, and reviews all about you, the writer. And now here's our host, H.D. Campbell. Welcome again to the Authors Corner with H.D. Campbell. I am your host, H.D. Campbell. Today I want to boast an all-new show with three very great authors. Then, after the interviews, stick around for a special report on my new book and other things going on here at H.D. Campbell Productions. We'll be right back with our first author, but first, here's our lineup for today's show. On today's Author's Corner, we'll have three powerful entrepreneurs. We'll start the ball rolling with author Gwendolyn McCloud. Then we'll continue with author LaTresa Blakely. And then we'll polish things off with author model Adina Murrell. Have you checked out the Author's Corner lately? It's the best show you're not watching. It's filled with news, interviews, reviews, and other surprises. Check me out twice a month with the latest in the literary world. Check me out on my website, www.htcampbell3.net, or my YouTube channel at hdcampbell1230. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit. Need a manuscript edited? Or maybe you need a press kit. H.D. Campbell Productions can give your project detailed attention and will not be satisfied until you are. We also do press releases, resumes, and more. For prices and services, log on to my online store at www.htcampbell3.net. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit. Michonne Michaels is back in two new ebooks, Road of Emotions and Lustful Passion. Road of Emotions share personal experiences from Michonne Michaels' life and hopes to inspire and help you to grow. It takes you on a road that will fill you with a number of emotions that range from one end of the scale to the other. Lustful Passion will take you on a ride. You'll explore not only lust, but passion as well. You'll see just how the two are intertwined. To buy these powerful ebooks, log on to Michonne Michaels' website, Facebook page, or contact her by email. Welcome back to the Author's Corner. I want to start the ball rolling with author Gwendolyn McCloud. She's originally from my hometown of St. Louis, Missouri, but then moved to Atlanta, Georgia, where she found her voice and her niche. Here's her story.
Currently, I'm involved in real estate. I offer also creative services, and I do other things as well. I have just a lot of stuff. I'm a motivational speaker, so I developed a series of motivational workshops I will soon be introducing via Facebook that I will be conducting in collaboration with Dr. Adina Harper. She's a life coach. I'm also an actress. So public speaking is the number of things we offer under that one umbrella company, McCloud 9 Enterprises, LLC. So.
Hey, very good, very good.
Yes.
Well, how long have McCloud Enterprises, LLC been in operation?
Well, it's been in operation officially since 2009, November 2009. And from that day, I've been building, and putting the company out there. And just, I'm at the point now where I'm looking to take everything to the next level, and I'm developing some really valuable business connections. And several of them, in fact, met over, across Facebook, including yourself. So, that's when it officially launched in 2009. Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Now I get to pick on you about the books.
Okay.
All right. Tell me, how many titles do you have, and tell me about each of your titles.
Now, the published title that I have is Cake Tales, 10 Deliriously Delicious Stories of the Surreal, and it is basically a series of stories around popular cakes. And the stories, the various ingredients in the cakes, I personify. So I'm a fantasy food writer, and that's my niche in terms of as far as my preference for writing. And the other titles I have are fantasy as well, and then I have some novels that are forthcoming. But I have a surreal series, the Surreal Carnival Part 1, the Surreal Carnival Part 2, and then I have the Mountain of Chinese Lanterns, Ghosts of the Black Sands, and I have a couple of books of poetry that are yet to be titled. So I haven't titled those as yet. But the ones, the Mountain of Chinese Lanterns, Ghosts of the Black Sands, the Surreal Carnival Parts 1 and 2, those are expected for release in 2014 in ebook format. I have to put them through the editing process. So that's where I am with my titles.
Okay. Are you self-published or do you have a publisher?
Well, for this first book, for Cake Tales, I self-published it, and basically what I did, of course, I wrote the book. I primarily served as the editor for the book. I did, solicit assistance from some colleagues of mine who are really good. They're really excellent at editing. So I solicited some outside assistance with the editing, but I essentially found a printer to print the book, and then I hired the graphic designer who was associated with the printer to design my cover and all of that, and to lay out the book, to format it. So that's how I chose to do it for Cake Tales, because I wanted to put the book out on my timeline, not wait for letters from a publisher, a traditional publisher, yay or nay. So, which can really take a very long time. And I said, no, I want to put my book out at this time, and so I need to do ABC in order to get that done. And so that's what I did. And from that, I decided to pretty much self-publish my other titles, my forthcoming titles, but I'm going to first introduce them in an ebook format. So that's the goal. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, how long have you been writing, and what inspired you to write?
Okay, well, as far as how long I've been writing, I was aware of my imagination. I became fully aware of my imagination when I was 5 years old. And I shared a room, and I always share this story with people. I shared a room with my sisters growing up in St. Louis. I grew up in St. Louis. And my mother had on our wall, she had pictures of three kittens. They were big pictures, too. And I would always ask my mother, I would say, Mama, are those kittens alive? Are those kittens alive? And she would always tell me, she said, no, baby, they're not real. They're not real. And she would pet me on my head. And she kept telling me this, but I wasn't convinced. And so what I did one day was I took a chair, right? I pushed the chair up against the wall. And I reached up and pulled the picture from the wall to look behind the picture to make sure that what she was telling me was the truth. But even when I looked, I still believed that cat was real. And that's when I said, oh, yeah, something's a little different about me. And I said, and from that point on, I knew that I had this affinity. I loved fantasy. For fantasy. And at 10, I lost my mother at 10. And that's when I started to physically write, to sit down and write. And from that point on, it just, at first I started with poetry, and it evolved into the fantasy writing and into the niche where I decided to focus on food in terms of my fantasy, or to heavily incorporate food into my fantasy writing. And so that's essentially how it started. And that's when I learned the power of imagination, and I started to, really, cultivate it. Mm-hmm.
No, you started like a lot of us did, because that overactive imagination will get you every time.
Exactly. Huh?
Well, speaking of your childhood, I'm going to pick on you for a second.
Okay.
You're from St. Louis, and you moved to Atlanta. What took you to it? Huh?
Well, actually, I moved from St. Louis to Massachusetts because I attended school in Northampton, Massachusetts, and from Massachusetts I came to Atlanta.
All right. What ultimately took you to Atlanta, if I'm not being too personal?
Well, the reason why I decided to move to Atlanta was to pursue being an artist. Because I have so many creative interests, I thought this was the best place to be for me. I moved to Atlanta in 1995, December of 1995, and I haven't regretted the decision since. And it has really been just a place where I've met other creatives, people who are involved in business. This is the mecca for business, especially for African Americans. This is the mecca for business. For music, anything you're interested in, you can find it here and build on it here in Atlanta. You can build something out of it, here in Atlanta. A talent, a service, you can find a niche here in Atlanta. So, and like I said, I've been pleased ever since.
Okay.
Since moving here.
Cool. Well, yeah, because hopefully within the next few months, I'll be back and forth through St. Louis and Atlanta, so that'll be pretty cool.
Okay. Absolutely.
All right. Where can people learn more about you, your titles, and your business?
Say it again, I'm sorry.
Say it again?
Yeah, the question, I didn't catch the question.
I'm saying, where can people learn more about you, your titles, and your business?
Well, I am actually establishing a self-branded website. So it's going to be GwenMcCloud.com. It's not up as yet, but I have several other websites that I can send you the links to where people will be able to view the various services I offer, because it's several.
Right.
But there will be an umbrella, once again, website, and it will be Gwen, www.Gwen, Gwen, McCloud, MCCLOUD.com.
Okay. Okay, pretty cool. All right. Now, what inspired your business savvy?
Well, I'm going to tell you, my dad was an entrepreneur. He owned a salvage yard. So, he didn't make a lot of money or anything, but he owned a salvage yard, and he worked, from the time I was little. I remember him owning that yard. And I think that's where I was born. I had it in my DNA to eventually come to work for myself. And I don't know, I just had it. I have that entrepreneurial spirit in me. So I'm like, and that's what it is. I get it from my dad. Okay. Absolutely.
Okay, well, I follow you or I'll stalk you on Facebook, and I'll always see you always have a positive message. You're always pushing for someone in the positive level. What keeps you smiling? What keeps you so positive?
Okay, I have a really good sense of humor. And one thing, I had a very difficult, childhood growing up in St. Louis, and I have learned just from living day to day, to be grateful. So that's what keeps me smiling and keeps me motivated and keeps me, moving throughout the day. And one thing I firmly believe in is that, while I want to be successful myself, it's important to cheer other people on as well. Because, and especially today, people are dealing with a lot of issues in their personal lives, financially, family-wise, or what have you. And it's important to lend, to share an encouraging word, give someone an encouraging word, and to prop them up. So, and it's like, because everyone, in my opinion, from day to day, we're trying to do the best we can with what we have, you see. So I just think it's important to encourage people and to, to share with them that you believe in them. That's very important. When you tell a person that you believe in them, you just don't know. It could mean the world to them at that very moment. The fact that you took time to tell them that. So, and that's why I post things on my Facebook where I say, check out this person's website or check out this book or what have you. And it's sincere because I want everyone to do well. I really do. I want to see everyone succeed. Because there's enough prosperity out there for everyone.
Well, I'll tell you what. A reason I brought that question up is the fact that you're so positive and you do inspire so many people.
Okay.
I just want you to just keep it up, pretty much. So.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, this is not a problem. I mean, you're the one that's doing it. I'm just the observer. So.
Yeah, but I love to do it. It's like I love being a cheerleader. And like naturally just a cheerleader for people. Like you're great, that's outstanding. And I mean it too. It's not phony. It's like if I think something is wonderful, I say it's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
It's wonderful. And I think that's important to tell people how great they are. If they're great, let them know. It's like, that's very important. So
now this has nothing to do
with mean it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now this has nothing to do with anything, and I'm not going to tell the year you graduated. But what school did you go to?
Sumner High School.
I knew it. Yep. There we go. Sumner Bulldogs. The old Bulldogs.
Yeah, I graduated from Sumner High School.
So they came over to Roosevelt where the dark side was, I just had to throw that in there for a second.
Yeah.
So, do you have any appearances or tours planned?
Well, as far as the appearances, none at the moment. What's coming forth are the workshops. The first workshop is planned for, either May or June. So that's what I've been building, setting up. I have a website for that, so I can give you the website for the workshops, and developing the manual and finalizing all of that. So that's what I'm doing. And because I've been focusing on some of the various aspects of the business, so I haven't scheduled any definite appearances yet. But those are forthcoming this year, absolutely. But the workshops are the next one. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, do you have any advice for people starting out in writing or business or both?
The main thing I can offer to people who are pursuing writing, starting a business, or what have you, is to stay true to yourself. For writers, to stay true, be authentic in your writing. You see, develop an authentic voice. While it's good to read other writers and to study their styles and what have you, and to look at what people are writing about, find your niche, and be truthful in what you're writing. That's of utmost importance, because then it'll become an enjoyable journey. It won't be drudgery, like, I have to get up and write it this way because they won't read it if I don't write it this way. Be true to yourself. Business, the same thing. Find something that you love to do, and you'll never work another day in your life. Be true to yourself. Find something you love to do and stick with it. With businesses, especially when you're starting a business, it usually takes about 5 years. I think they said 3 to 5 years for it to see some level of profitability or success. You have to be able to hang in there. You have to be able to persist and to be disciplined. You have to, you're going to have to focus. It takes a lot of focus and sacrifice. A lot of the things that, I may want to go out on a Saturday night, go see a movie or go dancing or what have you. I have to make the sacrifice and not do those things in order to work on my business. And, and so it involves all of that. And writing as well, there is a level of sacrifice, because to write, you have to be, in my opinion, it's good to be alone. That way you can center your thoughts and get them out effectively and get them down, on the page. And so that's the best thing. But across those two fields is to be true to yourself. That's the common thing. Be true to yourself, and you won't stray. You'll get things done, and we'll be happy with the outcome, the finished product.
Thank you, Gwen. One footnote to that interview is that nothing is achieved without hard work and true commitment. Author Gwendolyn McCloud has truly personified that. Now, when we return, we'll talk to our next entrepreneur, LaTresa Blakely. From authors Janae Sashi to erotic tales of love. Intimate moments. A lady in her 30s looking for a relationship after being divorced 5 years is torn between 3 men. One is an unhappy married man, one is her ex-husband, and the other one is someone she just met. She leans towards rekindling the relationship with her ex-husband, but still has reservations. She has broken off the contact with the married man and has agreed to spend some time getting to know the new man. The J-Spot. Women flock to him like bees to honey and fall at his feet at the sight of him. Although he's aggressive, he's still shy and flattered by all of the attention he receives from the ladies. He really doesn't understand all the attention. He's like an average male with a large sexual appetite and has a way of giving those ladies pleasure. But there's only one lady who catches his eye. He can't seem to get her out of his mind. What is it that he's feeling? Or is it he wants what he feels he can't have? Is she out of his league? Get to know Janae Sashi on her website at janaeebennett.com and buy her book at amazon.com, CreateSpace, and all these other websites. Relationship issues or questions about loving yourself? Check out my newest columnist, Sharita Newsom. Her column provides tell it like it is advice from a personal perspective. Get to know Sharita Newsom on my HC Insider page website at www.hccampbell3.net. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit. Welcome back to the Author's Corner. My next author is no exception to the ranks of superwomen I've interviewed. Author LaTresa Blakely is a dedicated wife, mother, author, entrepreneur, and more. Check out the interview.
Well, from brokenness to greatness comes from a really close space in my heart. Actually, the book has been in my heart for about 6 years now, and I actually was running from it because I didn't want anybody in my business. But the book comes from the journey that God took me on. He had to take me through this big, long journey because, again, I was hard-headed. I didn't listen, and I got myself in a world of trouble. I was really in a dark place. I was very depressed. I was like a prisoner in my own home. I didn't want to go anywhere because I felt that everybody was against me. I lost a lot of friends, a lot of family members, and so it really just forced me to look within myself because, again, when you don't have your cheerleaders anymore, you really have to take a look at the person staring back at you. So with that being said, after I went through all of that, that's when my book From Brokenness was born, and it was kind of like a relief for me to let the world know that yes, you can fall down, you can go through trials, but the key to it is to go through, and once you go through, then you'll have a testimony that you can share with the world, and then that next person that comes along, you can actually help the next person to overcome by sharing your testimony and things you did to overcome. So that's what brokenness to greatness is all about. Inspiring you, encouraging you to let you know that, you know what, the God I serve, he is truly amazing, and he is no respectable person. If he did it for me, I can assure you he can take that same step and help you get to yours.
Very good, very good. Now, with all that said, what inspired you to actually put words on the paper?
Well, to me, when I write things down, as the Bible says, you write it down and make it plain. When I write things down, it allows me to actually see it for what it is. And when I was typing the book, it really brought back some key issues of things that I needed to learn. And the thing of it is, you don't write the book just so everybody can say, oh, she wrote a book, or oh, this. I want the book to truly help women all across the world, because if you heal the little girl, you won't have any broken women. And as I was writing the book, it gave me permission to move forward. It just took like a burden off of me. I no longer had to carry that weight on my shoulders. I no longer had to feel like somebody was watching me. That book actually set me free.
Okay. Well, you're the founder of Moms Wearing Hats. Now, many of the female authors I've interviewed, pretty much so, I have to ask the same question. Pretty much so, because you wear multiple hats just like a lot of my other authors. You're a mother, you're a wife, you're an author, you're an entrepreneur. So I've got to ask you, how do you keep it all together?
That's a great question, because at the beginning, believe it or not, I thought I was going to pull my hair out, because it's a lot of work. And if you don't have great time management skills, then you may want to rethink being an entrepreneur because there's a lot of work that goes into it. When you're a mom, you have young ones such as myself, you have to know which hat to put on. And it can be very stressful if you don't have a key system in place. And the key to it all, I tell anybody, my notebooks are my best friend because every day I set aside time before I go to bed at night and to write down 3 key areas. It's personal, business, and family. And I put down the top 3 things that I want to achieve for the next day. Not saying that, you're going to get it all done, but at least I have something to focus on, and that keeps me at a state that, you know what, at the end of the day, I'm going to be able to strike through some of these things off my list, and that makes me feel like I've achieved something because, again, not every mom that's a work-at-home mom is sitting on the couch watching stories or eating honey buns. They don't do that, and I don't do that because I have too much to do to just sit around. So I have to set aside time for each task, whether it's doing laundry, cooking dinner, whether it's working on my business. Because, again, if you don't work on your business, it's not going to grow. I mean, God gave you that vision that you wanted to do, and can't nobody else see that vision but you. So you're going to have to work at it, whether it's 30 minutes a day, an hour. You decide, and don't get frustrated when you first start out, you get overwhelmed. Just take a deep breath, go out to eat, refresh yourself. Mm-hmm. And my number 1 tip is always take time out for yourself. Because at the beginning, I was running on like a superwoman. I was taking care of everybody else. Husband was taken care of. Kids was taken care of. Until one night, I just collapsed. It just all caught up with me. Those long nights, long hours, and not putting anything back into Tersa, I shut down. And I wouldn't encourage that to anybody. You have to keep pouring back into yourself. Because if not, you're going to get drained. You're going to start to feel resentful towards other people when you see them just happy-go-lucky. Because you're drained, and it was pretty much my fault. Because at the end of the day, I have to do whatever it is to keep myself upbeat, rejuvenized. I have to pour back into me. If I'm constantly giving and no one's feeding me, then I'm going to get drained and I'm going to get sick, and that's not good. Because if wifey's sick, mommy's sick, the house don't kind of function right because this is the main ingredient. Mm-hmm. To being a work-at-home mom, you have to know how to put off one hat from the next. And again, it all takes practice. It's just like anything else you do in life. You got to work at it. You get what you get out of it. If you don't put anything in there, you're not going to get anything back.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm loving this because there's a lot of good advice. Now, I'm also going to tell you, tell me more about your businesses, Baby Diaper Cakes and Mom Wearing Multiple Diapers. And while you're doing that, I'm going to switch over here to the website while you that you have here.
Okay. As far as the Diaper Cakes by LaTresa, that's where I inspire mothers. Because so many times when mothers have a new one on the way, they get all, worked up. Am I going to be a good mom? Am I going to do it right? And you just work yourself up. And when I start to design gifts for mothers, I want my gift to inspire them, to let them know that, you know what, you're going to be a great mother. You're going to do fine with your new baby. You just have to take care of you first, because again, everybody put most of the emphasis on the baby, but they leave out the important ingredient, which is the mother. She's pretty much doing all the work to get the baby here, so it can get a little overwhelming. So when I started creating Diaper Cakes for LaTresa, that's what I had in mind. I wanted to inspire the mom to be the best she can be, regardless if you make mistakes. Honey, we're all a work in progress. You learn, I tell people, you learn as you go. There's no perfect mama. There's no perfect way to do this. You find a system that works for you and your little ones, and I guarantee you, your babies will thank you for that. And as far as moms wearing multiple hats, a lot of people would come to me, via Facebook, Twitter, Tersa, how do you keep it all together? And I tell them exactly what I'm telling you. I had to find a system that worked for me. And once I found that system that really for me, that's what I ran with. And I share that via that blog, Moms Wearing Multiple Hats, because we need encouragement. We need inspiration because we're doing so many things and it's so easy for us to get burnt out. So I wanted that space to be where we can come and uplift one another, build each other up. If you have a question, I guarantee you somebody's going to answer it for you. Because, again, you don't have to feel like you're in this alone because it's a lot of moms wearing multiple hats out there. And they may not be in the public eye, but they're finding the system just like you and I. And so I encourage you, stop. I say hi. We all we're trying to get to the same level. We all want to be successful in all areas. So why not join up with other like-minded moms and entrepreneurs? And that way you'll have somebody to keep pouring into you. And all together we'll be definitely wearing multiple hats.
I love that. I love that. So in other words, besides you can include your website, but how can people get in contact with you personally about your services, your projects, or just even talk to you personally?
Actually, I always say the easiest way to find me, because I'm all over the place, you can go to LaTresaBlakely.com, and that's pretty much where I have all my brands in one place. And like I said, at the very top, you'll see Inspiring Mothers. That'll take you to the Diaper Cake site. Inspiring Entrepreneurs, that will take you to the Moms Wearing Multiple Hats. And that site, period, will tell you more about my upcoming book.
Okay. Very good, very good. All right, get you back over here. Now, do you have any other services?
That's pretty much what I do. I'm an author, upcoming author. I design gifts, and I share my tips on moms wearing multiple hats, and also I mentor, other upcoming business owners who have questions about getting started. Like I said, they can all find out that information on the LaTresaBlakely.com. It's a contact form at the top, and it should be some options, whether you want to talk to me about my book, whether you want to talk to me about startup questions, or if you're having problems getting over your past, that form will get you directly to me.
Okay. And do you have any other books in the works?
Well, actually, I started on my second book, which is How to Work at Home with Style and Grace. And that's in the works, but as I always tell people, do one at a time. So I'm going to launch the first book first, get that out the way first, and then I'll go on to the next. But I like to do things in order, so just stay tuned. It's more to come.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Cool. I like when you just put one thing, but I wish we all can learn to do that. Just put one thing before the other. That's so, and it's so like right. You know what I mean? So yeah.
But I mean, if you don't, you'll be all over the place, and that's not good.
Exactly.
You're all over the place, but you're not accomplishing anything.
Right. So no, you're exactly right on that. So do you have any upcoming tours or any other events planned?
At this moment, the most I'm really focused on is making sure I have a successful launch for my book. That's like one of my top priorities. And as far as other events, I'm quite sure it's more in the works. But like I said, I take it one day at a time and one step at a time. And I try to do one thing and do it well, and then I'll go to the next.
Okay. And finally, do you, with all that you been delivered from and all that you do now, do you have a message for anyone who wants to be delivered, who wants to be successful? Any final words?
I would really say my motto is, I want you to live beyond your past and start stepping into your greatness. Because again, what's done yesterday is over with. I'd always say take the lessons that you've learned from that and move forward and do your best. You know where you don't want to go, so don't focus on that. Focus on what it is that you want from this point on, and that way, that will allow you to step into your greatness, because you can't step into your greatness holding on to yesterday's pain or, yesterday's mistakes. You can't do that. You can either do one or the other. You can't do both. Because again, you're trying to do both, you're going to be confused and you're going to be very depressed. Because again, you can't celebrate one and then try to do something else. You got to stay focused. Stop driving with your feet on your brakes. You heard those saying you can't go anywhere with your feet on the brakes? Well, that's definitely what you're doing if you keep looking back into your past. Take your lessons, keep it moving, help somebody else. That'll take your focus off yourself. When you learn from what you've done, you can be a better blessing to somebody else because you've overcome. So once you do that, don't allow others to make you feel guilty about your past, allow others to keep you condemned because you don't have to do that. It says that in the word. You don't have to be condemned. Once he forgives you, he truly does what he says he's going to do. Keep moving forward. Whatever happened to you, learn the lessons and build something great with your life today instead of looking at what didn't happen on yesterday. And that's my little rant for today. But I want everybody to start, stepping into their greatness because that's truly what God wants you to do. He ain't making no mess. He knew exactly what he was doing when he created you and I. So we're one of his creations, and I must say he did a great job with me. Now that I finally realized that. So, everybody, just be great.
But pretty much so by looking at your website, looking at all that you've done, he's done a great job with you, so you should be proud.
Thank you.
That was a deep interview. And no matter what your past is, that is your past. It's not a reflection of what tomorrow brings, and it shouldn't affect your future success. You should always try to be successful no matter what yesterday brought. Thank you, LaTresa, for being such an inspiration. Now, after a short intermission, I'll be back with author, model, entrepreneur, Adina Murrell. Come back with us. Looking for commentary on the hardest hitting issues? Looking for someone who don't pull any punches? Looking for a debatable topic on a wide range of subjects? Check out DJ Triplet's column in which she gives you her powerful opinion, no holds barred. Get to know DJ Triplet on my HD Insider page at www.hdcampbell3.net. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit. Need a manuscript edited? Or maybe you need a press kit. HD Campbell Productions can give your project detailed attention and will not be satisfied until you are. We also do press releases, resumes, and more. For prices and services, log on to my online store at www.hdcampbell3.net. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit. Relationship issues or questions about loving yourself? Check out my newest columnist, Sharitha Newsom. Her column provides tell it like it is advice from a personal perspective. Get to know Sharitha Newsom on my HD Insider page website at www.hdcampbell3.net. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit. Welcome back. My next interview is with Adina Murrell. She's an author, model, educator, mother, the list just goes on. Here's her story.
Sleep is very important. I try to make sure I have at least 6 to 7 hours a night because my morning starts at 5 a.m. on the dot, and it doesn't end most of the time until 11. So I try to make sure I get my sleep in. But sleep and time management is very, very much important to me as well. So, yeah.
True that on that time management. That lack of time management will get you every time.
Exactly.
Well, before we get into your books, I want to start talking about you're a very beautiful woman with a very great modeling career. What inspired you to become a model?
Well, the thing about it is I've always been into fashion since my teen years, and I just haven't had the opportunity or the time to be able to say, let's get it started until now. I really just pushed myself into saying, let's just get everything done at once. I want to incorporate my modeling, my writing, and my education background all into one career. And so now's the time to do it, and I'm doing it.
Okay. Do you freelance or do you work for a firm?
I freelance at the moment. Pretty soon in June, I'll be signing contracts with Sylvia Polite for her Cali Girl campaign, and I'll be the main model for her spokesmodel. And so those contracts will be signed in June, and that'll be for a whole year. I'll be doing her events and out in California as well as here in Kansas City. So she's going to be designing some outfits for me to wear during the events as well. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I'm really excited about that.
All right, congratulations. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Who are some of your modeling influences?
Influences mainly have been people like Beverly Johnson and Tyler. Those are the two main ones that I focused on.
Okay. Also, too, before we get into your books, you're also an educator. What inspired you to go into education?
Well, I'll tell you what, this is funny. When I was graduating, getting ready to graduate high school, my grandparents were like, well, you know, you really pretty much, you know you want to write, but you know you have to pay the bills. So everybody in our family has gone into education, my aunt and my cousin. And so they were like, you know, you need to go into something to pay some bills, and there's always teachers needed. So I went into school for journalism, and I ended up in education before I got my first book out. So.
Pretty cool, pretty cool. Now we get on to your books. I've been on your website. I saw your book titles, but please let my viewers know. Break down each of your titles for my viewers.
The title, the first one that I came out with a few years ago was called Departure. And then the second one, the new one that just has been released, is called Ascended.
Okay. And give me a synopsis of each of those.
Well, Departure is a coming-of-age novel, basically, about two best friends, a guy and a girl who grew up together, ended up going their separate ways for college, and basically takes you through their lives and their experiences through college and a few years after. And then, you know, some very crazy things happen, and, you know, you have to have a plot be exciting. And then you have them coming back together in the end. Ascended is about a girl, a woman, who is basically trying to get over a, you know, relationship that is not okay for her. She's trying to get over it. She's having a very difficult time doing it. It takes you through her past and her present to help you understand why she's making the decisions that she's making.
Okay. Pretty cool. So, first, how old were you when you first started writing, and what inspired you to write?
Let me think about this. I was about 12, 13, whatever the age was when you're in like 7th grade in middle school. I read this play from one of the Scholastic books. You remember those?
Mm-hmm.
Scholastic books. So I read a play, and it was really good. It was like about an inner city group of kids who were best friends, and I ended up writing a sequel to that play. And then from there, I just kept my writing up all throughout high school and college and today.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And how long have you been writing?
So since I was 13.
Okay, cool. Well, who are some of your writing influences?
I'll tell you what, my favorite book of all time was Wuthering Heights, and it was pretty weird based on the subject matter. I didn't really understand it, but the voice of the author was just so intriguing to me. Also, Maya Angelou's poetry and her descriptions were just beautiful to me, so she's also one of my influences.
Okay, I mean that's not. I love Wuthering Heights. Don't feel bad.
Isn't it weird though? I didn't really understand the premise of it until I got older, and I was like, okay, that's different. But you know, the voice was very awesome. I love the description. So.
Oh yeah. So I mean, like I say, I read it twice myself. So I really it took me twice to understand it. So don't feel bad. That's pretty cool.
And one of my favorite authors is Eric Jerome Dickey, just because I love his Gideon series. So, you know.
Cool.
I love Eric Jerome Dickey.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you have any events or appearances coming up for your titles?
Right now, I'm getting interviews done, and I will have a second one coming up in May through House of Sound magazine with the creator of all of that. David Hamilton is going to be interviewing me for that in the magazine, so I'm looking forward to that. And then right now I have the event out in California that I think we're going to be doing a book signing afterwards as well. So that is in June or July.
Okay.
So it's coming up. Everything's coming up, slowly but surely, but it's happening.
Okay. Well, how about any more titles being in the works?
Say that one more time.
Any more titles in the works?
I still don't know what that. I still didn't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Any more books coming up?
Oh, well, yeah, of course, being a writer, you always have a story in your head.
Absolutely.
Getting it out is the issue because of everything that I'm working on right now. So I told myself, okay, keep it in your head. Get all the promotion for the new book out going and steady and successful. Get the modeling thing jumping off and get that successful, and then start writing on the third. So the third is going to be an extension of Ascendant. So yeah, that's in my head right now, but I'm not going to. I'm telling myself not to do anything with it until I have some time. I don't want to drive myself too crazy.
Well, I'm going to be very honest with you, where I have to do that. I have so many stories in my head, and I have to remember I'm only one person. I can only work on one book at a time. So I have to tell myself, okay, let's not jack with this right now. Work on your current one, and we can deal with the others. So.
Yeah, tell yourself, calm down. Wait a minute, calm down. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You gotta tell your head to calm down a little bit, right?
Being a creative person is just like you have all these ideas, no matter what. If it's with a book or if it's with a concept for a photo shoot, it's like, oh my God, I have all these ideas in my head. I have to get it.
Right, and it doesn't help to write them down because you will never stop.
Right. Exactly.
So,
you have 1,800 notes on one subject.
Right, so it's like, what's the point?
Right, like which one do I go with or what? It's so ridiculous. But that's just the mind of a creative person is you gotta love us.
Well, exactly. Oh, don't worry, trust me. I truly understand.
Right.
All right. For my final question, I'm going to pick on you because you wear more than one hat.
Okay.
The question is going to be in two parts. Normally, I ask this question as for the writing, but I'm going to ask this question for the modeling as well. Do you have any words of wisdom for, number one, people who are interested in becoming a model, and number two, those who are interested in writing?
You said, am I willing to work with these people?
No. Do you have any words of wisdom for anyone who's interested in any of these?
Words of wisdom. That's a good question. Whew. Know who you are before you get into anything, because you're always going to have somebody, whether it be a publishing company, whether it be a fellow person in that industry, or, editors or whatever. There's always going to be somebody who's going to want to direct you in where you want to go, or where they want you to go, or they think you should go. But you have to know who you are, first and foremost. And you have to know what you will and will not do. You have to know what you'll put up with. So you have to know yourself before you get into anything. And with that comes, I would say, experience. But then again, if you're brand new, you won't have that experience. But it does come with just some self-confidence about yourself. Because if you don't have that, you'll fall for anything. So know yourself.
Okay. Well, for this, I want to thank you. Thank you, Adina. Know yourself and know what you're getting into, because you never know what you may get talked into if you don't. Thank you, Adina, for sharing your words and your story. Now, when we come back, I'll give you an in-depth presentation of H.D. Campbell Productions. Have you checked out the Authors Corner lately? It's the best show you're not watching. It's filled with news, interviews, reviews, and other surprises. Check me out twice a month with the latest in the literary world. Check me out on my website, www.htcampbell3.net, or my YouTube channel at hdcampbell1230. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit. Need a manuscript edited? Or maybe you need a press kit. H.D. Campbell Productions can give your project detailed attention and will not be satisfied until you are. We also do press releases, resumes, and more. For prices and services, log on to my online store at www.hccampbell3.net. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit. Mashawn Michaels is back in two new ebooks, Road of Emotions and Lustful Passion. Road of Emotions share personal experiences from Mashawn Michaels' life and hopes to inspire and help you to grow. It takes you on a road that will fill you with a number of emotions that range from one end of the scale to the other. Lustful Passion will take you on a ride. You'll explore not only lust, but passion as well. You'll see just how the two are intertwined. To buy these powerful ebooks, log on to Mashawn Michaels' website, Facebook page, or contact her by email. Welcome back. Here in our final segment, I want to give you a chance to get to know me and H.C. Campbell Productions. Many people know bits and pieces through my services and my writing, but here's a little presentation about the full me and H.C. Campbell Productions. Well, a lot of people don't know about me is that writing was always in me since I was 10 years old. I had my first poem published in a magazine by one of my teachers. That started a career of writing, learning the industry, and more writing. I learned many things, a lot through trial and error, mostly in high school and college. So, by the time I published my first book, How to Lose a Black Woman, I knew some things about the industry and wanted to find a way to help other new authors get to where I am, if not beyond. Through more learning and trial and error, I started HD Campbell Productions in 2001. It started as an organization which helped new writers get from point A to B in the publishing world through editing services, press kits, and also interviewing published authors in order to inspire them. I started the website at www.hdcampbell3.net to advertise my services, my books, and to show off my interviews. I modified my paid services as I evolved and was able to do more things over time. Now, besides my books, my services also include my editing services, press kits, ghostwriting, book trailers, and other freelance services. I provide freelance services such as technical writing for businesses in which the prices are negotiable. The website also provides information on my books. Each book has a page with a description plus reviews. I have a page for my show in which you can watch past episodes and go to links of my current guests. I have a newsletter page called the HD Insider in which I do many interviews and give writers advice. I also feature two regular columnists, Sharita Newsom and Deborah DJ Triplett. Sharita gives strong, thought-provoking opinions on matters of the heart, while Deborah Triplett's articles vary from current events to things personally weighing on her mind. Just log on to www.hdcampbell3.net for that and a lot more. Welcome again to the Authors Corner with H.D. Campbell. I am your host, H.D. Campbell. In 2008, I started this show, The Authors Corner with H.D. Campbell. The show features 2 or 3 authors talking about their writing careers and more. I've interviewed everyone from Keisha Green to Raheem Brooks to Anna J. It's a show that goes from regular Q&A, and I try to make every interview a conversation. The shows are taped and edited, but the conversations stay true to what they are. Log on to my show page at www.hdcampbell3.net to see this show and a lot more. Here are all of my titles as follows. How to Lose a Black Woman. It's a Christian romance about a man's trial and error search for love. Late Murder at 10. First in the Mark Alexander Mystery Suspense series is about Mark Alexander's return to the game of investigative reporting after a news anchor is murdered on the air during the 10 p.m. news. The Sergeant Wiseguy Chronicles. First in the Sergeant Wiseguy Espionage series is about the title characters codenamed Sergeant Wiseguy's search for a missing Soviet warhead allegedly smuggled into Paris, France. Garth, From the Heart of a Virtual Demon. Second in the Mark Alexander Mystery Suspense series pits Mark Alexander in a cat and mouse game with a woman-hating cyber serial killer. The Warhawk, Biological Threat. Second in the Sergeant Wiseguy espionage series, pits Sergeant Wiseguy against an assassin codenamed Warhawk. At the same time, the terrorists hiring him plan to unleash a man-made plague upon the East Coast. You can buy all my titles at Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and my website at www.accampbell3.net. I'm even on Kindle. I'll be coming soon to Nook, Smashwords, and Goodreads. Just stay tuned. You can always find me also in your favorite bookstore. Well, that's it for the Author's Corner. Thank you, God bless, and as always, let your writing fuel your spirit. And keep writing.